Hello and welcome to the Couchsurfing podcast with your host Tim Brussel. Today's guest is Soshia. Welcome, man.
Oh, thanks. It's an honor to be your guest.
Yeah, I mean, you flatter me when you say stuff like that. But yeah, I really appreciate you being here as well. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, thanks. We learned this in schools.
Sorry?
We learned to say this like words, meaningless words. Like it was an honor to be here.
Oh,
So,
yeah, okay.
it's like it's a kind of filling the space.
Yeah.
But I like to be here and be your guest, I think.
Yeah, no, but it sounds like you've been raised well. Like you're very polite, and that always helps.
Yeah, thanks.
So for our listeners, if I don't know how many there are, but what are you doing here in Norway?
Oh, I'm actually I'm living here at the same time. I'm a student here, and I studied the Norwegian playwright Ibsen. So
Yeah.
I have a master degree in Ibsen studies, and I'm doing my second master in English literature. My bachelor is English literature, so I'm just coming back to the original kind of studies that I was interested in and tried. I liked Ibsen, so basically I came here to know more about this type of Norwegian melancholy, melodrama. And
Oh, right. So he was like a pretty big influence.
Yeah,
Influence for you.
Yeah, pretty.
All right. But so how long have you been here now?
I've been here 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And how long are you planning on staying? Like, how long will your studies go on for?
I have 1 year left, and I hope I can do a PhD, which is gonna be like 3 years. So I'm gonna be here at least 4 years more.
Okay, that's great.
In Scandinavia.
Yeah. So where did you come from? Like before, I know you're from Iran.
Yeah.
But did you go straight to Norway? Did you study somewhere else before?
No, I come from southeast of Iran, a city called Kerman.
Sorry,
Kerman.
Kerman. Okay.
And also there is a state in the United States in California called Kerman. There is like a county called Kerman. I didn't know.
That's cool.
That's kind of bad. So Kerman is a place that I come from. It's where the carpet comes from, the Persian carpet.
Really?
Yeah. Tabriz and Kerman, they are the two most beautiful carpet producers.
Oh, really? So like when people think about Persian carpets, it's like your origin. Sorry, the origin is like from your hometown.
Yeah, the Kerman carpet is very famous.
Okay. Cool.
And I did my bachelor there, University of Kerman.
Yeah.
And then I was teaching English at an institute, and then I finished my studies because in Iran it's 4 years. To do a bachelor is 4 years.
Okay, really?
I finished 1 year. Yeah, I finished 1 year sooner, like one semester sooner.
Yeah.
Instead of finishing in 8 semesters, I finished in 7. And then I just was chilling out, working a little bit, saving up money. And then I went for a TOEFL exam in Turkey. And I was there for like just a week. And it was the very first experience I had living home and just being on my own. And it was really interesting. And then when I came back, the only thing I was thinking, like, I want to travel. I don't want to just stay at one place. So I went back to Turkey, and I was there. And meanwhile, I applied for summer school, the Norwegian International Summer School, International Oslo University Summer School. And then I was accepted there, but meanwhile I was living in Turkey. I just decided, like, let's go. Let's see how would it be like to just live away from home.
But just let me interrupt you quick. Like, so was Ibsen, like, did you read him when you were young, or when did you stumble upon him? Like, was he already then a big influence on you, or?
When I was doing my bachelor, I had a teacher, and she was very existentialist, I had like drama 1, drama 2. It was an introduction to drama, because Ibsen is known as the father of modern drama, and Ibsen's plays are kind of, they're trying to deconstruct everything that is true, and they all handle on like what is truth and who is right, who is wrong. So it was very interesting for me, the plays. And the plays are really, some of them are so melancholic, some of them are very different, and a little bit also feminist. So I was so influenced by the way actually my teacher thought these plays, the way she interpreted them in an existentialist way. So I really was interested. I read When We Dead Awaken, which is my really favorite play, and the most famous one probably is A Doll's House and Wild Duck. So I was so influenced by these 3 plays, because and then I was thinking about it, because when you think about it, because in Ibsen's plays you see the Norwegian, or I could better say the Scandinavian kind of nature, and then Scandinavian melancholia, and it was interesting for me.
But so you were in Turkey, and like, did you have any other places in mind, or did you just like, oh, look at this, they have this summer school in Norway, or did you like look at 10 other places? Or
no, not really. I was actually, I was pretty focused on Norway. Because
that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
Yeah, I was pretty. I knew what I just knew it. Okay, I like Norway. I checked the programs, and I like gender literature and gender theories and feminist theories. I will explain later why. And
please do.
Yeah. What?
No, yeah, please do.
Yeah. And then I checked the programs at University of Oslo. I thought it's a quite not that big town. It's not populated. It's kind of it's a perfect place to be for a while, and the university is for free.
Yeah,
that's one benefit. University is for free, though the life expenses are high. And then I applied, and then I left Iran. And then I was leaving in Turkey, and because I tried to apply for my visa from Turkey, because I thought it would be much easier to get the visa from a third country than applying directly from Iran. Yeah. And I got an email that, I'm accepted for the international summer school, University of Oslo, and then I came here after 6 months living in Turkey. Mm-hmm. And I was living in Turkey with a Netherlands Institution of Higher Education. Is a place in Ankara. I was living in Ankara. It's a place that international Turkish, Dutch, German, Turkish, like mixed Turkish, or even people from Netherlands who are interested in Turkey and they are exchanged, so they were leaving there. Yeah. I was taking a Turkish language course, and there was this lady who's a lady that her husband was working at the embassy, and she told me, I can fix you a place there, and I thought, cool, thanks. And then awesome. I just lived there with the Dutch people. We had perfect pancakes, and so it was very interesting. I was living there. I met a lot of international people, talking to people. It was a new world for me. Yeah. And then I got the email that I'm accepted. I was accepted. I was admitted at the University of Oslo, and then I got my visa in Turkey, and I came here. And I just was learning Norwegian, for 6 weeks. The summer school is 6 weeks. Yeah. And I was at the summer school for 6 weeks, and then I went to the Ibsen Center, and I talked with one of the Ibsen scholars, and then I wrote an essay for one of the professors, and she was like, "Oh, it's really interesting. I like your ideas." I thought I thought like I want to write my thesis. I want to do some research about this topic. And she liked it. She told, yeah, you can take some single subjects. So I took some single subjects the first year. So I was kind of like a guest researcher the first year.
Yeah.
And I stayed 1 year and I applied for the master. So actually I applied for the master program when I was in Norway.
Okay.
I really like Munch. The paintings are really interesting because they try to visualize something that is not much visible in our daily life. And then I just started studying Ibsen, and it was very interesting topic because they had different people from different countries. It's very multicultural, and they spend a good budget on the program. So we had we went to, for example, some conferences. We went for many performances. It's more about how to use the already existing text that Ibsen has written and how these texts are received, how these texts are performed in different cultures, how are they adapted, and how they are improvised, like as a material, how are they used, mixed, you know.
But it sounds really cool. Like you got into Ibsen when you got your first taste, and then you actually managed to go to Norway, and then getting into this place. That must have been really cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to ask you a little bit more about your background. So you come from the southeast part of Iran.
Yeah.
And like your family, would you say like are you middle class?
Yeah.
Like what sort of background do you have, and like the level of education? Because I mean, I'm from Scandinavia.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm totally ignorant. I don't know anything about
I mean,
home country.
It's pronounced Iran.
Iran,
yeah. I come. It's very complicated. My father comes from a family that they used, like, in old time it was like feudalism. So they were people who had farm and they had workers who work for them. So my grandfather from my father's side or from my dad's side, he has like plenty lands, a lot of lands, and then he has people who work for him, and then he's kind of rich guy, but I mean it's not like the way you understand being rich in Norway, for example. It's more about property. To be rich, it means not having money to have more properties. More.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider rich having a lot of money.
Yeah.
But just
I understand.
If you can afford to go to school and get a higher education.
And stuff. So then it's like in Iran, it's like if you are coming from a kind of a classic family or rich family, then they know your last name. So, he is the son of, for example, Sami, the Samis, the family. So people kind of know the last name, like in my city.
Yeah.
And then my father, I just, I have uncles and aunts, and my father just quits high school. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't want to study. He quits high school. And he is very interested in like making jewelry or interested in stones, and he just likes to work with art. Mm-hmm. He doesn't fit with this kind of go to school and study and get a formal job. Yeah. Because in Iran it's an Islamic country, and if you want to have like a state work for the state, then you have to fit yourself into that. Imagine you're like a triangle, and in order to get a job you have to change your shape to a square. So otherwise you cannot survive. I mean, he did it for a while. He just started working in a telecommunication company, but he quits also due to a lot of problems. Because when you're from a rich family, they always have struggle over money and who gonna inherit more money, and they have a lot of quarrels and dramas with their sisters and brothers. So he kind of departs from his family. So he's just like in his own. So it doesn't matter that his father is rich because he is not. So then my mom also comes from a normal middle class family, and it's totally different story, because if you come from a normal middle class family, the only way that you can have a standard life is to study. It's the only thing that they can do. So all my uncles, they are educated from my mom's side. They are educated because it's the only way they can get a good job, they can have a good economy, they can build their life. So most of them are educated, and my mom also, she has a bachelor in economy or accountancy specifically. And they met each other and they married. So my mom comes from a middle class family, and my father from a little bit richer family. But it doesn't matter because he's not.
Yeah, he broke out.
Yeah, he breaks up with him. But they are in contact, but not much. It's not about receiving money and stuff. So he has to do his life. He has to stand on his own feet.
Sounds like brave man to.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of courage to do that, to break out of the path that's been laid out for you.
Yeah. And then my father starts working as a jewelry repairer. In Iran, it's like we have bazaar, and in the bazaars there are a lot of shops. So he has like a small shop that people just pass by. They give him their jewelry. He fix them, just give him some money, Yeah. And he is very ethical person, so he just doesn't charge people the same amount as charge everyone.
Okay.
He just, he's a very nice person. And then so they met each other, and so I come from a kind of like a middle class family. That my mom works in the state. She works for the state. She used to work for mine and industry organization administration in Iran, in Kerman.
But your father had his own business.
Yeah, my father, he just has a business. But I mean, you should think about it like for example, here you have a person who fixes the phone, right? You just go and give your phone and he fix it. So something like that. And then so we have enough money to pay rent and to just leave, so or to pay for my university, for clothes. It's a like very normal middle class family, while my aunts and my uncles, they are pretty rich and they have a different life. But their life is not connected to our life. And so that's it. And then so to answer your question, I come from such family. And then
I mean, it's a very difficult question to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want.
So I just gave the context.
To describe it,
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid to be like, "Are you rich? Are you middle class?"
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But I mean, you explained it very good, very thorough. So I sort of get it.
Yeah.
And also, just apologize for me saying Iran. I know it's Iran.
Iran, yeah.
Because in Scandinavia, I would say Iran.
Iran, yeah.
But I have this, I don't know. My English is a bit. I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of American English and British English.
Yeah.
But some words, like Iran, Iraq, you say it like in American.
Yeah. Like the word is the kind of controversial, because in comedy they would say, I'm from Iran. I ran. I ran from the country.
Yeah.
I ran from the country. So it's like a place that you run from. But it doesn't matter how you pronounce it, because it's just, these are just imaginary names that we have in our mind. Imaginary borders. Here is Iran. We fight for it. We just... So, for me, just call it whatever. It's just a space that it's been there forever. No one owns that place.
I like your idea. I like what you're saying. So, do you have brothers and sisters?
I only have one sister, and
how old is she?
She is just 1 year older than me, and she's also born the same. I'm born in Iran. It's a little bit different. I'm born because we have different calendar. We have solar calendar.
Please explain.
Yeah, in Iran we use solar calendar, and it's really interesting because Iran is known as a kind of religious. The first thing comes to your mind when you hear the word Iran, you associate with religion. And when you associate with religion, if you think about it, for example, like European countries, most of them use the Georgian calendar, which is based on a religious interpretation, like when the Jesus was born or after, before. But in Iran, we do not have a kind of...
Sorry for interrupting. I just love that you said the Jesus.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. Continue.
Yeah, so... or in, for example, Arabian countries, they use like lunar system. Mm-hmm. But we use the solar system, and Khayyam is a Persian scholar who invented this solar calendar, which is really precise. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the most precise calendars. So we use this calendar, solar calendar. And my sister's born the same as me in February, but she's born like 2 days after. Mm-hmm. I mean, a year before me. I'm 1st of February. She is the 3rd of February. And 1987, and I'm born 1st of February 1988. So we just have 2 kids, because if my family were rich, they probably had more kids. Mm-hmm. But budget family with 2 kids, 1 guy, 1 girl, and it's pretty hard in Iran for a normal middle class family to pay a lot of, they spend a lot of money on you to feed you and to send you to university.
Sorry, does it cost a lot to send your kids to university?
In Iran, we do not have. It's like you study, and then at the end of high school, you have a test. Imagine they divide. It's like very reductionist way of. It's a reductionist approach to pedagogical teaching, which is okay. You finish the junior. Yeah, you finish the junior high school. Yeah. And then you're gonna choose biology, mathematics, art, or biology, mathematics, art, or humanities. Mm-hmm. So you go to different high schools, and at the end of the high school, you have there is a test. Mm-hmm. 2 million people sit for the test, wow. And then according to their score, they are allowed to choose what major they want to study, and if they have good scores, they can continue and they can enter the university. So it's like a cone, university in Iran is like a cone that you enter from the narrow side. Yeah. It's very hard to get in, and then you get in and then you study. So if you have good score, you can just study for free. If you don't have a good score, so you have to pay, or you have to just start studying in a private university. I studied in a state university. I studied pretty hard. I basically was not like this kind of person who studies a lot. I was more into when I was at the class, I pick up everything. So I was a good test taker, I can say. Yeah,
I totally understand. I was the same, pretty much. Yeah.
So it's not about how knowledgeable you are; it's about how good you are at sitting for the test.
Yeah.
So you can even find out the answer from the questions, or just I'm just logical way of thinking. And that's what I did. And my sister also, she studied accountancy, and she has also a bachelor in accountancy. And I finished the university at my city.
Yeah.
So it's the University of Kerman.
But then you managed to get to Turkey at some point.
Yeah, I just registered. When I started studying, when I started doing my bachelor, I was also an English teacher at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So I was teaching English at the same time in the evenings and also studying at the same time. So I saved a little bit of money, and my mom and my dad, they helped a little bit. So because I wanted to sit for a TOEFL exam, and I wanted to experience a new space, because when you learn, I could speak English, and it was kind of useless to speak English because you could just speak English with the people who arrive, who exist around you, the foreigners or the people who are from the outside of Iran, and I could talk with them. Like I met Swedish tourists and stuff. So,
how nice.
So I wanted to go to the other space and use that language there. So it was pretty a kind of curiosity. It was not about let's move out of Iran. I didn't have such awareness, I can say. So as soon as you get out of that space, and I reached a little bit of awareness, that when I came back, I was just comparing Turkey with Iran, like speaking of the way the country is run and the way people live. A lot of negative sides, a lot of positive sides. So I was like, okay, I want to experience this life.
Yeah.
I want to go. I don't need visa. If you
saw another side to it.
If you go to Turkey as an Iranian, you do not need visa. You can stay there 3 months without visa. So I stayed there 3 months, and then I came back home for the New Year in Iran, and then I came back. So I was home like 7 days between those 3 months Turkey, 7 days home, again 3 months Turkey, and then. And did you have to work a lot to save up for that trip? It was a lot of money, right? It was pretty much, but
did you have
not
to work
that much? Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I could afford it. I mean, if you're a middle class family and you work, it would be like 1 year of working, So you can dig it.
yeah. But then going to Norway, like, I mean. Was that like
that
really expensive?
That was really expensive. So I can tell. So when I just arrived,
if you want to.
So just when I arrived to Norway, I just had like 3,000 or something. All my money was like 3,000 kroners, which would be just 1 month's rent. And I was like, oh, I have to find a job.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I never worked as a waiter back home. I was working as a teacher, and to be a teacher, English teacher, to speak another language, it has a kind of prestige, he speaks, if the same here, if someone speaks French, he speaks French.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of stereotype. So I came here and I just started working in a Persian restaurant.
Yeah.
And I started working in a Persian restaurant, and I was so it's like the restaurants, they don't have much income, and I was just working as much as I could pay my rent and some money for food, and it was nice. So I could manage to be in Norway, but I could manage to be in the sense that I can pay my rent and I can have food.
Yeah.
I can physically exist.
Yeah.
So,
but if you don't mind me asking, like, did you have a loan? Like, did you have to like borrow money, or like did you just work a lot to travel to Norway? And then, I mean, once you're here, you earn a lot of money, because the Norwegian money, like wherever you travel in the world, it's worth a lot more.
Yeah.
But so did you have a lot to pay back, or?
When I, for the ticket to come to Norway.
Yeah.
You mean the flight ticket? My father paid the flight ticket, and so it was just one way. You know?
Yeah. One-way ticket.
Yeah, it was a one-way ticket.
Good luck, my son.
Yeah, it was a one-way ticket. So I got a one-way ticket. It's an opportunity that you have. So, and I pretty decided that I want to move. I don't have even know any plan to stay in one place, but I have the plan to just be abroad and travel around, or live in different countries, or experience different ways that people are living. So I just came here. It was pretty hard even to get a job. I was looking for that job for almost 2-3 weeks, going here, there, and then that was this guy who had the restaurant. He's okay, just come work, and I started working, and it was so hard because you could just earn enough money to pay rent and to pay food, and you cannot work more than 20 hours a week. And I had to buy books, and I had to study at the same time. So it's a kind of hard, like, because you neither study nor do you earn money. You just are dangling between these two states of work and study.
Yeah. Plus minus zero.
Yeah, plus minus zero situation, which you do not put, like, you don't get so much input.
I know, but it takes a while, but then you get over the line.
Yeah.
But sorry, I just want to get some perspective. Mm-hmm. So I think if I wanted to go to Iran for a week, I think Norwegian it would be like 6,000 kroners, 7,000. And I mean, if I work, I can save up, maybe 2 months, and then I will have that money to go and travel. Yeah. But if you're in Iran and you want to go to Norway for 1 week, like, is it similar, or do you have to work like 6 months to save up for a flight ticket?
Definitely.
Or a year? Like, how long would you, like a normal salary, just so we can get some perspective?
Since I'm from a middle class family, like, my mom's salary would be something like 600 Toman, 600,000 Toman, which is it's very few. It's like each 400 Toman is 1 kroner.
Okay.
So 400. It's like Poland,
Yeah,
it's something like Poland.
But like, if I have to work 2 months to save like 3,500 per month.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you say like, okay, 6,000 or 7,000 Norwegian kroners to go from Norway to Iran, but if you if you get what I'm saying, like perspective, like if it's, say it's 7,000 for a Norwegian, like how much would that be for a guy in Iran? Like, would it be 20,000, like 3 times as much? What do you think if you would guess, like estimate?
Yeah, it would be probably more than 3 months. It would be almost a year, because if you think about the time that people spend in Norway, if you think about the time that people spend in Norway, and the money that they earn. For example, you spend 1 hour of your time, and then you, instead of spending that 1 hour of your time, you earn 150, which is almost a person in Iran should probably earn this money in 64 hours or something. So 1 hour of your life equals 64 hours of another person in another space. It can be worse in India and in other countries, but also it depends what that person does. There are rich people, or there are people who have business that they can easily earn money quick. But coming from middle class family with a normal job, a normal, like, typical life, it's almost 1 year, 2 years even, you need to save up.
So it's like 40,000-50,000 kroners to compare it.
Yeah, if you want to give, okay, no, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you want to think like that, to buy a ticket, being in that situation and using Norwegian kroner would be like 30,000 kroner,
Yeah, okay.
Would be like, I have to save 30,000 kroner to just travel, which is like just traveling to for example, if you want to travel to Poland, you just buy a ticket for 100 kroners. But imagine if I want to travel to Poland, I have to work like earning 330,000 kroner. It would be a lot of money.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's
but so like you haven't been traveling much before, or like is it like if you're in Iran, you travel to like the next door countries, or do you just stay within your country? Like, what's normal if you're like, I know all families are not traveling, but if you are like, we like to travel and go places, like, is it more normal that people travel within the country or to the next door countries, or
within the like it, it's just trends trends that comes and goes. I when I was like very young, 6-7 years old, you travel, like it's very common in Iran when it's summer, you travel around the country. People travel around the country as soon as there is holidays.
Like camping?
Yeah, like camping, or just those basically camping. They have these tents and they really camp, or it's like they have some villa, like Norwegian have hytte, or the cabin.
Oh, the cabin, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very common in Iran, but it's not cabin, it's more villa, something much bigger. And some people have, like in North or in some small countryside. So they travel. So basically they travel inside. But nowadays, like the last 10 years, it's a kind of trend to travel to Turkey, to travel to Armanistan, and this because we have a lot of Iranian who live abroad, and there are a lot of singers. They come and they have concerts close in the neighbor countries. So they just come, for example, to Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, this kind of countries, people. And it's a kind of business nowadays that they fix you a kind of cheap trip, like kind of inexpensive trip to the neighbor countries. So so basically, but speaking of me, I basically traveled just within Iran. But I always was with family,
but not with friends.
No, because and one time with friend, I had an IELTS exam, and it was in Tehran. So I just traveled on my own, and it was the first experience that I had traveling on my own.
Sorry, how far is it to Tehran?
From I took the flight. I took the flight, which is like 3 hours, I think.
3 hours.
Yeah,
it's a big country then.
It's a big country. Yeah,
wow.
And we have 77 million people, and it's I think 4 times bigger than Norway.
Yeah.
Speaking of the area. So it was the first. I mean, as long as you're sticking in one space, like being with your parents or being in your comfort zone, you live in a different sense of awareness. And then as soon as you get out of those out of the borders of your comfort zone, you reach to another awareness. And if you come back again to that beginning,
your origin,
your beginning spot that you travel, like when I went to Tehran, it's very small in comparison with Kerman. It's smaller, but it's more populated, and it's like you're gonna go to the mouth of the. It's a kind of Persian expression. You go to the mouth of the lion. It's like a lot of danger, a lot of things, different life. People gonna rip you off. You're a lad. You're a country, because they have this attitude toward you. Because in Iran, it's like everything is the capital.
Yeah.
And everyone who is outside the capital is not human, or it's just it's just a countryside guy, So there is such an attitude, because they are the capital. People who live at the capital, and they speak the standard Persian. And they have no accent, so like everyone who goes there, they have to adjust their accent with their accent. Or
they have to,
or it's better to do, because you like to be liked, So you do it even unconsciously, just to get attention. I mean, this is that's what I do. So for me, it was kind of. I mean, I was thinking about these things. Maybe other people don't think about these things. But when I just traveled there, so I had like thinking about all these things. And when I went to Turkey, it was then I also traveled to Kish Island, where my uncle lives, with my aunt. So it was also a nice experience to not be with family. And then I traveled actually with, it was very kind of dangerous. I traveled from south of Iran, because we have a coral island, which is called, it's a free zone actually. It's 20 minutes away from Dubai, and it's called Kish Island.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, from south of Iran to that island, I took like a normal boat. So I was on a boat. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It took like 40 minutes to arrive at the island, and
Well, why was it dangerous?
because it was just like a normal motorboat.
Okay.
And the sea,
Shit. So for how long did you?
And we just had some life jacket,
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, it was pretty interesting, because, and then I also, after that, I just traveled to Turkey for a week, and it was interesting because I met people from not just Turkey, people from other countries.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting, and I used the language, and it was, and when you speak another language, you can perform yourself in a different way, because when I speak Farsi, I automatically censor myself. I try to speak more polite,
Sorry, for Farsi, what do you?
My in Iran they speak Farsi.
Yeah, okay.
It's like but many languages are spoken,
Yeah, now we just have to explain for the listeners.
Yeah, sure. In Iran is a kind of geopolitically, it's a many ethnic groups. We have north of Iran, we have Azeri, people who speak Azeri language, which is very close to the Turkish spoken in Turkey, but kind of close to Azerbaijan language.
So can the people understand each other, or?
Yeah, they understand each other. It's like Swedish and Norwegian, Danish.
Okay.
So they understand each other, and they speak Azeri. And north of Iran also we have different ethnicity. They speak Talashi, Gilaki, and then we got the Persian, like they speak Farsi, but with different accents. It's just accents. And then we have Kurdish, so people speak Kurdish, but the Kurdish spoken in Iran is Sorani Kurdish. The Kurdish spoken in Iran is called Sorani. Yeah. And also inside of Iran, close to the Dubai or close to the Arab countries, there are people who speak Arabics and.
Yeah. So what did you mean? Like you could enter a different role when you were talking English in Turkey?
Yeah,
like you.
Yeah, I was telling.
Sorry, did you discover a new side of your personality, or just that you can be someone else, or how do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, because when you start speaking your mother tongue, it happens from the very moment that you're born. So you have a lot of different institutions that try to educate you or influence you. Your mom, your school, the kindergarten you go, a lot of things. So you always kind of censor yourself. You're policing yourself when you speak your mother tongue. But when it comes to you speak in our language, it's very easier for you. You don't feel that guilty if you swear in English that you feel in your mother tongue. Speaking of the register of the language, because I don't usually swear when I speak in Farsi, So
really, because I'm not really following that. I can't really relate to that. Okay. So you mean like your mother tongue, like you speak even more polite, like more clean, so to speak.
Yeah, I think I can explain like this. Imagine that we can, when you are like speaking your another language, I think you're more performing a kind of first point of view of yourself, because when you're speaking your mother tongue, you're always thinking about the image that you get, because maybe it's very Iranian thing. You think about the face, like what other people like, very French. also culture is the same. What other people think about you, how polite you speak, how good you speak, how much do you influence the other people, how much you try to attract people. So you think about all these things. You always don't have very first person point of view. You usually have a kind of third. You project yourself as a third person, and you look at yourself all the time and trying to trim the way you speak, and
because you feel like you're very aware about.
You're very aware of your behavior,
but okay.
But when it becomes to another language, then you are kind of more first point of view. You're more close to yourself, but or you don't feel that guilty or that aware when you swear or when you talk about things, and so for me it was really interesting. And there are many words or many cultural words that does not exist in the other language. So
I think that's very fascinating, because I feel the opposite. I feel like when I speak Swedish or my mother tongue, I mean, it's not that I swear a lot, but I sort of do. Like, I have 2 points I want to make here. The first one is I can really understand what you mean, like people speaking the capital language, because we have that in Sweden as well. Like if people go to Stockholm, a lot of people will change the dialects and stuff. Or if you go to any of the other major cities, like one of the third biggest cities in Sweden. But I always try to keep my original dialect. I mean, I made like a thing out of it just to insist of speaking my own dialect, and also I feel more free and relaxed, and I can swear if I have to. But I mean, I don't know really how to explain it more. But I feel more like the opposite. Like when I speak English, for me maybe it's a different case than a lot of other people. But for me, like the first thing I would try to do is be more polite and not swear and be clean. Except when I'm, even though when I'm really, really drunk, I still try to make a pretty good first impression. I would say I'm more aware on how other people, or how I am portrayed of other people when I'm talking English, because I don't know. I have some friends, that's, I don't know if it's just they're not comfortable with speaking English, and when we've been around English people and we've been drinking, they've been like, "Yeah, man, fuck this, fuck that," and I'm just like, that is so cheesy. Like, why do you have to behave like this? Like, it's like a little kid trying to be cool and like use swear words like you see in movies. So I just feel like I want to be more polite. I feel more aware of the image I put out when I'm, with English people, especially when I'm with like English people or Americans or Canadians. I don't want to come off like, this stupid tourist. I watch a lot of movies. I try to be like cool, and I actually can remember like a few times I've been like drunk and I've been like fuck this, fuck that, and I just look at me and I'm just felt embarrassed because like, what am I doing,
Yeah, I'm saying.
So for me it's different.
Yeah, my point. Maybe I think the reason might be our consciousness. Speaking of Iran, is kind of suppressed consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So given the chance to be expressed, so you kind of rebel. So I think that's the reason. But
sorry if this is a touchy subject, but like freedom of speech, are you saying like you're a little bit limited, and that's why you can't like say whatever you want and think and feel and like curse and stuff?
Yeah, but I mean, more it's more cultural thing, because in Persian culture we have a lot of like a Japanese culture or the French culture. You
really?
have the face. You have to protect your face. You have to live your life for others, because you have to look nice. You have to dress nice. You have to be you have to project yourself as a person who is from the capital.
Oh, you have a lot of expectations on yourself.
You're already performing a third person point of view. You know, you never see yourself as a first point of view. You're always seeing a third person, and then you're trying to depict that third person and just project it or perform it. So I think it's one of the reasons. But learning the English is kind of controversial because you are exposed to a kind of discourse or a kind of words that are expressed by other people who do not have religious, or they don't have a suppressed consciousness. Because you read a poetry, an English poetry, and it denies the God, you know.
Yeah.
You feel so good, you know. You read for example, a piece of love. Because it's about development, and I think speaking of Persian, like the modern Persian, because of the country has a lot of everything. I mean, my people be offended if I say that, but the way that the language is spoken, because it depends a lot on the consciousness. So it would be interesting for me to imagine a drunk Persian guy who is in a pub and hear that kind of Persian, you know?
Yeah, so, I get what you're saying.
So that's something that you don't have. But when you read English, you experience such expression of consciousness, which is a sort of new experience for you. Where when you read a novel, you see a person in that sense, which might be very hard to find a Persian equivalent, or a lot of situations that the Persian consciousness has never been placed, you know, which the other has been, even though it's translated. So that's probably the thing.
No, but I totally understand what you're saying. And I mean, there's a little bit like this in Scandinavia too, like people, especially, I mean, Western countries, capitals, like a lot of hip people, they're very aware, like how they are portrayed and how they talk and blah, 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 this and that, and clothes and image and all this. And I mean, speaking to you, I mean, I can see like you had a turning point in your life where you like, maybe it was when you went to Turkey and came back and saw like that things were different. Maybe that's when you started your awakening, if you don't mind me using that. And I mean, I've had that sort of awakening too. So, but I come from sort of the same thing. But like when looking back at it and hearing you, like when I look back at where I come from, where I grew up, and the things that were supposed to matter, and then hear you like explain like, this is how you're supposed to talk and portray yourself, and you have to be really careful. It just sounds so weird now that I've had this sort of awakening, and you know, looking back, it just sounds so weird, so strange. I mean, a lot of my friends and my family, so I don't mean to be negative and that, but just looking back, it just sounds so weird and strange, like, and it doesn't seem original at all. It just seems like you construct like this you construct, you're not true to yourself, and it just doesn't seem original. And I discovered this when I go back to my hometown as well. Like people are like holding back, and when you try to get them to like just talk about stuff, you know, they're but that's a bit deep, man, I don't want to talk about that. So what I do, what I love to do, and what I always liked doing, is even in Scandinavia, when people seems to be a bit uptight and a bit like, you know, I can't talk about that, I can't say that, I like when I get to know people, I like to get them really, really, really drunk, because sometimes even for like 5 minutes or an hour, they will open up and you will see the true self. Even if they're like intoxicated, you know, they just loosen up. And sometimes the next day they have regrets and they're like, oh yeah, I don't want to hang out with you, I don't want to drink. But sometimes, you know, like, yeah, man, you're not too bad, you know, and because they're ashamed, like, you're not supposed to talk about some stuff. And for me, it just doesn't seem natural. It doesn't seem like, I mean, you know people, but then it's like, if you're constantly afraid that people are gonna get like the wrong picture of you and look at you in a bad way or negative, like then you're not true to yourself, and you're like people don't really know you. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I can visualize this image of awareness. Imagine that you want to look at a window. You have two options. You can look at a glass, and if you concentrate on the glass of the window, the pane, the glass pane, the pane of the glass, you're not going to see the view outside of the window. You're just focusing on the glass. You're trying to see the glass. But at the very moment you notice, oh, there is also a view at the outside of the window. Yeah. Then you're seeing two visions, and at the same time you can change your shift. You can change your focus of attention on the glass,
perspective,
or outside. So you see both. You see the glass, and you see whatever that is outside of the window, behind the glass. You know. So I think that's the kind of awareness when you come back. If you get out of your space. Yeah. And then you get another view, and then you come back to your old space. Then you see the glass, and you see the outside, the view from the window. So you have these two visions all the time, and this is what I call awareness. And to explain other people that look the view, they say you're crazy. It's just glass. I know. Because they are trying to see the glass.
But for me, I would call that, or like, we're different, but I think it's just perspective. And I think it's really important what you're saying, even though you don't have, like, in all episodes now, we've been saying this, or I've been talking about this, but like, you don't have to travel the world, but you should try to get out of your comfort zone and maybe just try to see things from a different way. Like, as long as you always question stuff, whatever it is, and just try to look at it from another point of view, then you can always go back. But like you say, like, if you always stay in the same place or the same comfort zone and never, like, expose yourself for something else, you know, you're just going to be a bit narrow-minded. You're not never going to be open-minded. And I think when you get more perspective and you see other things, like other people's point of views, I honestly think you become more happy in life.
Yeah, I mean, my father had a fucked up life because he was a drug addict for a while and then he quit. I don't go through that. Maybe I'm okay to talk about it, but maybe he's not. He always
let's not put this podcast out in Iran then.
he told me a very interesting thing. He told me, if you think staying in this room makes your life boring, immigrate from this room to the other room. Mm-hmm. I mean, this change of the space, even this little change of the space, to change just from this room to another room, it changed your life. And the other thing he also told me, that if you do not respect yourself, you never gonna understand life. He told me very interesting, because in Iran, you know, we are very polite when we have people who are our guests, you know. So we do not extend our legs and stand like sitting next to our friend, just extending our legs, you know.
Like putting them up on the table.
Yeah, like something. Yeah. And my father told me like this, that one time there was a guy and he was sitting in the room and he was sitting very in a polite way. And they asked him, there is no one else in this room, why you are sitting so polite? He told, I'm respecting myself. Yeah. You know? So he told me this. And these two things are really kind of, you should reach, like, you know, my friend likes Tom Van Zandt, he's a singer.
I know about him.
Yeah, you
Claudia's favorite,
yeah,
or yours. So just for fun fact, like Towns Van Sant, like did you introduce it to Claudia or did she introduce it to you? Because I know she's really into him.
Yeah, she definitely did, as I told.
Sorry?
Yeah, she definitely did introduce that to me.
To you, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, as I told you, this kind of people, you have to reach to such sort of awareness, or you have to reach to a sort of space and time that you experience your consciousness in a very specific way that you can express such lyrics, such poems, Yeah. And I was telling, like, my father had a fucked up life, because, and so he told me these two advices, these two pieces of advice, so that's why I think I take it serious, because I know, I mean, you have to reach to a very specific point of life to express such a way of consciousness, because...
I understand what you mean. I understand what you're saying. I was going to ask this before you... I don't know how to say that. I'm just going to say it. But I read a lot about Towns Van Sant, for example, and I read that he was like a heavy heroin addict.
Yeah.
And you're saying sort of you have to push yourself or be in a certain way to write a certain type of lyrics.
Yeah, I told Claudia, like, Towns Van Sant, there's a person that when you listen to him and you listen to his lyrics, even if you want to commit suicide at that moment, when you listen to his lyrics, you stop doing that.
Yeah.
So, but okay, drugs might be something that people can think about it as something negative, but also, human being's body is totally amazing, because it doesn't matter if he was using drugs or whatever, but still he has the same consciousness, and having influenced by drugs, you can experience maybe a new consciousness.
I totally understand what you're saying. And I'm not saying I hate drugs or I love drugs. I'm not saying that, none of that at all. I just wanted to make that point because you said he wrote specific kind of lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to drop two examples, like Hunter S. Thompson, the writer, or like Charles Bukowski, who were both like alcoholics and drug addicts. And I know for a fact Bukowski was abusive to women, and I think Towns Van Sant was as well. It doesn't mean they didn't perform great stuff. I mean, it doesn't matter. Some people say like, he was a bad human being, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't listen or be influenced to that. And I mean, I disagree, because a lot of the biggest artists within music, within, writers, any kind of art, have been pretty bad people, either drugs or abusive or whatever, but that's not what you want to focus on. You want to focus on what they did, the art they did, and the people they affected, and changed like people's perception of art and stuff. So just to make that clear, I'm not saying I hate drugs or I love drugs, but yeah.
Yeah, I think like people like Tom Van Sant or other writers or artists, it's about exposing another human being to the limits. It's about exposing or presenting limits, or presenting. It's like his lyrics or other maybe perfect arts are like a book of experience where they kind of present the limits of human being. What would happen if someone's consciousness is in that situation? Drugged, a girl left him, or a lot of things, was hard. Like, imagine you're hurt in nostalgia, a lot of things. So it's about limits. It's about presenting the limits of human being, and we like to just experience it without being in that moment. So it just gives you that special feeling. That
I totally understand where you're coming from. And I remember I was like 18 or 20 or something, and I had a pretty big discussion with my father.
Yes.
When I realized, like, I think this was specifically in music, my musical heroes, you know, like Jimi Hendrix or like guitar players or Slash or the old blues guys. And I realized after talking to my father, I was like, 100% or maybe 100, but 95 of all these guys were like heavy drug addicts. And I was like, oh man, I want to become a great guitar player. I was like, fuck, is it even possible to do without drugs? And then you go like over to all the big writers or the big artists or actors, and it's like all these people are on drugs. And I was like, I was so like, what's going on? I thought, like, you know, do you have to do this to become big, or to you know, really success and create like the best stuff? And for a while I was like, shit, this I know, I just wanted to quit playing guitar, and I was like, I'm never gonna become anything because I didn't want to do drugs. And I was like, shit, is this all? But really, still to this day, this might sound really stupid and arrogant. I don't know. But it's like, really, the biggest, most influent people have been doing drugs or, you know, alcoholism to some point. I don't know if how much that helped them just doing the art. Like, if they were intoxicated while they were doing the art, or if that was like just a persona. But I was really depressed for a while when I found out like all the biggest people were like on stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's not about you. You do not need to take drugs to present what they did. I mean, they did the job for you. I mean, they were in a specific moment of experience, of consciousness, and they presented it for you.
Yeah.
It's like I go to the top of mountain and bring a specific metal that you need to make a kind of statue, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need again to go to that mountain.
That's true.
So he did it.
Yeah,
he put it like in the middle. So the other people have to take over and build it.
Yeah.
So
you mean that they did it for us?
They did for us.
So for me, like a big artist, you're saying like created something that didn't exist. Like say Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Like he created something that didn't exist, but now since it exists, you can learn it. But before you couldn't because it didn't exist. But after it exists, you don't have to take drugs to do it.
No.
Yeah, and I agree that that's a good point.
I mean, or he wanted to also present you that if you go that far, you will come back with such a thing. You know, I mean, you don't need to put yourself in such situation. But these people like Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson, or many famous people who created a new way of expressing themselves. These are people who experience, they think beyond the people that they coexist with, you know. So they are special people because they have altered their consciousness, and you never know if they really were on drugs or they were just having normal.
Yeah, but also back then, like if you talk about Jimi Hendrix in the 60s, every artist, every band did drugs all the time, all of them, like almost 95%, everyone, because people didn't know. I don't know. People didn't really know the bad effects of drugs. I mean, LSD and psychedelics were legal until like the end of the 60s. It was still legal during the whole, you know, Beatles era, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix. Like it was legal and it was used a lot for treating patients with depression and stuff.
Yeah.
So people weren't aware, like even smoking, like they didn't know of the effects because not that many people died.
Yeah, true.
Because of it.
Yeah, I think like because it depends how you define consciousness, but art and life, there are moments in life that art, you're performing art, you're like painting, and there are moments in your life that art stops and life starts, and there are moments that life stops and art starts. So
that's a really interesting point of view.
The only thing that can connect like such people, such artists, to perform this kind of or present such music or present such a beautiful ethics, actions, whatever, is to remove this slash between life and art.
Yeah.
To present their mindfulness, you know. So I think to use drugs is just one way of that, because there are a lot of discussions in that. Like
I know it can really help. It can really help. I just want to ask you, like, are you involved of any kind of art, Soshia?
I paint myself, but it's not like something that I do for a living. Just
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because what I find interesting, like I've been trying to think about something and to express it. I was actually thinking about bringing it up today in this podcast with you.
Yeah.
But maybe I can steal your way of thoughts that you just presented this, like when art stops and life stops, and the opposite. Because I feel like when I started writing my first book, I felt like not that life stopped and art started, but sort of still it's something else. It's something else. And then I wrote that, and then I was writing my second one. I'm still writing my second book, but I stopped. Now it's mid-September, and the beginning of this year was going really good. I was writing up until the end of May, I think. Then I had a pause for a month, and then some stuff happened, and then I had to move to a new apartment. So now it's been like a 3-month break, and I've been missing this. Maybe this is not at all what you're talking about, but for me to explain it, I will use your quote. And I've been missing the art side in my life. Like I've been missing playing music. I've been missing writing. I mean, I've done some podcasting, but still, just writing and reading books is something else. It's another part of life. And when you just said that, like, life stops and art starts, that's, I don't know. For me, it feels like a good way to describing what I go through. So these past days, I've been trying to get my my influence back and my motivation back to get back to writing. So I started looking at some documentaries about Hunter S. Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And just 2 days ago, I was looking at this. They have this documentary on YouTube. And like after 25 minutes, I just had to stop. I just had to pause it because I was like vibrating. I was like, I need to get back into this world of art. This for me, which is writing, because it's so much more fulfilling in life than most other stuff. Like I miss it, and I told Claudia this summer, like I miss writing. I miss this because for me it's almost like a meditative state in somehow. I can't explain it in any other way, but I've been missing it. And I mean, I've been functioning, but I think I've been feeling more depressed than I usually do. So, and I know, like when I write or create stuff, like when the art side is on, it feels I feel so much more vibrant in life, and so much, life just feels so much more fulfilling. So I really want to get back into that. And I don't know at all if that was what you were meaning, but for me, it was a good way to explain my feelings about art.
Yeah, true. This is one of the fundamental questions, I think, in philosophy, and no one has an answer for that. But I think this is a kind of connection between science and common sense that in nowadays society, which is a kind of postmodern society, in this postmodern society, we are entering into a very complex society. And for example, it's very easy to buy you can buy the biggest house ever you want, but can we buy the smallest house ever? No. Like in the States, if you cannot own a very small space, you have to have it on wheels, like the tiny house movement in the States. You can buy the biggest house, but you cannot have a very tiny house, because the more the society is becoming complex, the human being is changing his body. We're changing our body. We are, the way we change our body, our consciousness will also change. So in such society, I mean, the meaning of life and art is changing, but it depends how you define, because we have three ways of defining life. Many people say that, okay, you just many people have the materialistic approach, like everything, there was nothingness and then life started. Many people say no, it's not. It's idealistic, like the idea or our mind determines how the brain behaves. And the other people say no, there is no mind, it's just brain, it's some brain that's
I mean, the materialistic way of living is just so weird, because it's just plastic stuff. I don't get it, but please continue.
And I think that the other choice we have is duality. Like if you want to think,
duality, like the Slipknot song. I'm just kidding.
Duality. So the duality, I mean, because this is one of after studying and all these things in my life, I think I reached to this point in life that I think we should really think and just leave all this metaphysical prejudice that we have. We have to be honest with ourselves, because now I think that the experience of being a human being, or being a human animal, to say, we always categorize, or we always define everything based on human. We over dramatize being a human, and we kill a lot of things, we remove a lot of part of nature, and we just discuss everything as like, human, you should have benefit for human. And we always approach the truth in two different ways. If we study science, we divide it in two parts: science and humanities, or culture. If you think about science, the science says that the truth is inside the
wine bottle.
The wine bottle.
In vino veritas.
The truth is just into nature.
Sorry.
We have to go to the nature. We have to go through the nature. We have to even sometimes we remove human being as a person that can measure the reality that exists inside the nature,
I agree totally, because human beings, we take ourselves, too serious. If we didn't exist, nature wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, it would still work. It would be like, we take ourselves so... so important. Like, no, it doesn't matter. Nature was here before us, and it will still be here when we're gone. And we take ourselves so doesn't make any sense. It's like, I know humans have accomplished a lot of stuff and technology, and they should be, and everything is becoming more and more easy to do whatever you want to do, and blah blah blah. But still, like, you need to think, like,
Yeah, you're right.
You need to care about nature and other animals, and not just be like, yeah, human beings, this is shit, man. Yeah. You know, you need to care about other stuff too.
We should. I use this. We should remove the slash between human and non-human, and we should reach to this understanding that everything is connected, interconnected with each other, and there is no. Because if you think about it,
it's a very good point.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Because if you think about it like philosophy, I also said some philosophy. If you think about the whole thing, it's like, let's start from Marxism, whatever. We have a base. They have a base, and then they have a superstructure. Marxism says that okay, the base is the one that determines how the superstructure gonna exist. For example, speaking of economy, it says economy is the base, and economy determines what is valuable and what is not valuable. It defines economy functions as a sort of intelligibility that is a kind of touchstone for us to understand, okay, what is good, what is not good. So if it makes some money, it's good. If it doesn't make money, it's not economically wise, it's not good. So we got the economy as something that functions as a kind of intelligibility in human being to say, okay, I sell my TV, I buy a better TV, you know. It's money, you know. And then you got the philosophy comes and expand this base, says, no, this base is not just economy, it can be politics. No, it's also culturally, a lot of things are injected to this base culturally. So when we think about what is intelligible, and because when we say intelligible, I mean like imagine you want to do something and you have to respond based on your intelligibility, and it depends how your intelligibility is constructed, and that way you have the right answer and the wrong answer. And the more we reduce all human beings to one sort of intelligibility, we can agree, we can make them agree that, yeah, the action you did was a very good thing, you know. So for me, then you got the base and you got the superstructure, and a lot of people want to define this, and they create this kind of dialectic relationship between the
because when you define stuff, you create like this
values.
Yeah. I mean, when you define, always define stuff, then
you categorize them.
Yeah. Then you destroy it. Like then you create like borders or walls between it.
You put them in a box and you just leave it there. That's it.
Yeah. So
So I think existence for every human being is like being born in a world of squares, square land. I can say like square landers, people who are like square and they live in that place. And every single human being when he's born looks like for example, feels himself like a triangle. And most of his life,
I wasn't a triangle, man.
I'm just and then most of your life is all the institutions in life try to focus on your shape, to change your shape to this square like. But
when I was born, I was a skateboard, man.
And no one has an answer that why are you born like a triangle? And no one has an answer why are we going to change the triangle to a square? So I was coming back to this point, like in the philosophy you have a lot, and then the only thing they will do is, okay, there's a dialectical relationship between the culture you have, the economy and everything, so you can change the way the institutions are. I mean, universities, a lot of intelligibility of the value. You can change it, and they have a kind of relationship together, so you can change your life.
Yeah, but sorry, is this number 2? You said there was three ways. Materialistic.
Materialistic says that okay, there is a base, and that's economic, whatever you can call it,
and the second
that determines the other one, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the second one is a more kind of idealistic way that says, okay, we can define like this. If you want to count from 0 to 10, in a materialistic way, you start from 0. We say we have 0, we feel it until we reach to 1, and then 2, 3, 4, we go up.
Yeah.
But idealistic way would say, no, we don't have zero. We have infinity. Human being is a self-evident thing. There is an essence in human being.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. We're gonna transcend to that very moment. But dualist is a third moment, because they're gonna answer this question: is it the idea that determines the matter, or is it the matter that determines the idea? The materialists say definitely it's the matter that creates the idea. Economy creates the idea for you, creates your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Culture creates your consciousness. Whatever, they just add a lot of stuff. Politics. But the idealist would say, no, it's idea. Your feelings or this kind of
your spirit,
whatever, that is the one that determines the matter. But the dualist would say, no, it's just matter and meaning, matter and idea are not two separate things. Because in the other two, you always think that you have the matter, you have like a base, if you think about a base as a matter, and you have the superstructure as an idea, whatever. They are pre-existing entities. They are already existing, and they have different borders there. But while matter, but by the dualist point of view, would say, no, there is no such a kind of pre-existing matter and idea. They are not something. It's not an interaction, because if you consider as an interaction, there are two pre-existing entities which are interacting together. Mm-hmm. There is one thing like visible here and one thing here visible, and they are hitting each other. They are interacting with each other. While the dualist point of view would say there is no such a simultaneous interaction between these two things. There is no pre-existing kind of entities like matter and idea. It's just instantaneous. There is no time. There is no. It's not a time-bounded thing. There is no space. There is no time. The space and the time that a human being understands is just the flow of consciousness in human's brain. So mind and matter are just one thing, and they are active, and they are changing their topology, I mean the way they are. So human being's body, or the way human being looks like, or the way non-human being looks like, because we can argue that everything has a topology or a body, and has also mind. So mind, I would say mind and body. Mind and body are just one thing. They're not separated from each other. They are not interacting with each other. They are intra-acting. When you say intra-acting, it means that there's no pre-existing mind and pre-existing body. It's just one thing. But the slash that exists between these two is your consciousness and your body. Like if you think about the yin-yang,
I understand.
So that's what I think about life, and that's the only thing I understood about life.
It's cool. I just hope that people, whoever listens to this, will understand what you're meaning. I understand because I've been reading and studying some of this for a while. But I think you're making a good point. I just hope that people, can understand this, because what you're talking about for me makes perfect sense. But I don't think that the mass population will be like, oh man, totally, dude.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean? I love your ideas, but I mean.
But maybe I can make it like very simple. I would say, imagine,
make it as simple as you can. Try to explain it. Like pretend that you were explaining this to a 5-year-old, and you have 1 minute.
Okay. I would say it's
just so people can get a different perspective. Okay, that's what it means.
I would say imagine you're in a dark room and you have a flashlight, and imagine this flashlight is your body, or is the way you understand the whole dark room. So when you turn on the flashlight, you will focus the light on a specific part of the room, and then you call that specific part of the room as illuminated part, or as something that is conscious, something that is known, something that is knowledge, whatever. Mm-hmm. And you consider the rest of the room as darkness or wrong, false, nothingness, non-existence, not valid. Mm-hmm. It's because, but while that illuminated part is just a part of that big image of darkness, which we cannot see. So if you change,
you can't see.
Yeah,
the rest, but it still exists.
It exists. Also, I can say like this point. Like, imagine you're having you're born as a person who has first point of view, but you're always thinking about yourself as a third person point of view. And then sometimes you might think that, okay, that now that I'm thinking that I'm that third person, because you get this image that, okay, I'm a third person point of view, who is thinking before? Because if you think about the quantum mechanics, there is no time, there's nothingness, and there is no future, there is no past. It's like you are a first person point of view. You always think you're imagining someone in the future as a third person. So behind that third person, there is a first person. And maybe you, as a first person, now that you're feeling this or you're seeing this, maybe you are the imagination of someone else's first point of view, who is imagining himself as a third person, you know?
I love it, man. I really do. But I still don't think a 5-year-old will understand it. Maybe the flashlight part.
Yeah. That was my...
No, but I still like it. But I want to ask you, like, the thing I was trying to explain before with life and art. Like, can you relate to that at all? Like, do you feel like you tap into a different kind of thinking or a conscious behavior when you're performing art at all?
Yeah, I mean, the word perform is it depends how we define the word perform. But
okay, so don't get hung up with the performing. Yeah. Like when you're doing some art or thinking about art, do you feel like you tap into a different kind of awareness?
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to talk about the life and art, because it's very. There are two ways of understanding this. The first way that I decline, and I think is the wrong way, is that imagine I tell you, okay, this is the image of beauty. I show you an image and say this is beauty. And then I tell you, can you paint me a beautiful picture? Then what you're going to do is that you're not going to use your abilities and yourself. You're going to just think about that image and try to make something which is close to that image. And whatever you produce as art, or other people gonna check it with that image. And if it fits that image, it's good, it's beautiful. Otherwise, it is not. While art or performing art is not just making an image that corresponds to that image of beauty.
But the thing is, I'm not asking you to define art. I'm not asking what your definition of art is. I'm just asking because I feel like I tap into this different kind of understanding while I'm doing or trying out or experiencing different kind of art. Do you also feel like you can relate to that? Like, do you feel that there's something else when you're doing art, or like getting like really inspired by music, or like when you're painting, or like?
When I paint, for example, sometimes it's very hard to write a novel, to just 200 pages to just express something. It's very easy to just paint something and express that all 200 pages in one.
I don't think so. I can't paint at all. I wrote my first novel. It's 400 pages.
400 pages.
Yeah, but still, I would still do that again because I can't paint at all. So we're gonna have a quick break. So we'll be right back, folks. Yeah. So sorry, just to get back to it. Do you feel like you're entering a different kind of consciousness when you're painting?
Definitely. When I, for example, paint, it's just a kind of, how can I say? It's just another feeling of freedom, of not feeling. You're just seeing another region. You're not into that moment. It's a timeless moment. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
It's a timeless moment.
That's what
it's
I mean.
Matterless,
that's what I was after.
It's a spaceless, timeless, and matterless moment. Or I can say it's a combination of all this at once together. You cannot see the difference.
Yeah.
As if I write the word space, time, matter all together without any space.
Yeah.
But when I live my life, it's like there is a space between each of these three words.
Yeah. It's really cool. I appreciate your answer, and it feels it feels more soothing and calming to me, because I've never been talking to people or to anyone about this really. Like I've been thinking a lot about it, but when you said like life starts art, blah blah blah, maybe that wasn't exactly what you meant. But for me, I just took your example, because for me it was a way of explaining. Like when I'm into art or doing art or trying to do art, it feels like you enter sort of a meditative state without time and stuff. You just feel so relaxing and so fulfilling. And it's just weird. I've never been able to explain it. I just, when you said that example before, I'm like, maybe that's a way to explain it.
Yeah, it's a moment that you are not presented. You don't expect to see anything. You are just presenting. You're in a presenting moment. You're fluid. It's like, as I told you, it's like feeling that you are waves in an ocean, and you do not find yourself separated from the ocean. You're just an ocean in motion, and you feel this, and you perform it, and you. I also write poetry sometimes, and I just sometimes just the language, which is like a matter, the language is like so tamed by the idea, or it's so in such an interaction with that you write beautiful words which are so simple, but they are meaningful and beautiful, and it kind of satisfies your soul. It satisfies you in a different way. I
love that. I like that. It satisfies your soul.
Yeah.
I really like that, man. And I can really relate to it. It's cool.
It does.
But just to move on a little bit, where you're going to travel next? Do you have like any travel plans at all, or are you just going to stay around in Norway and study?
I really want to travel to Georgia.
Yeah.
To Tbilisi.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's been for a long time because I met a lot of Georgian people here in Norway, and they were so interested in Persian culture, Persian calligraphy, because Persian language is it can be painted. It's like a kind of, we have calligraphy.
Yeah.
It can be performed in a very beautiful way. It's a kind of art. It's kind of art because if you think about language is like form. But you can change. You can kind of remove the slash between form and content in calligraphy, because when you see the calligraphy, it's a poetry that is written there, but the form is so beautiful that presents also content at the same time. So a lot of people like the Persian culture. So I was so interested to travel to Georgia and see what do they think about Persia. And, I have some friends from Georgia, so I think it would be. I really like to go in November. I'm planning to travel.
So you think you're gonna go soon?
Yeah. I'm planning to, as soon as I get a little bit of money, and just buy the ticket.
Cool. How long are you gonna stay?
And I have a friend, actually. She has a friend there who speaks also Persian.
Yeah.
Kind of Iranist, So I think like probably 4 or 5 days, not much, because I have a lot to do here and writing a thesis, which is I think Georgia would be interesting place, because I travel a lot, but some places you want to just travel to see what's happening there, and to know, to kind of feed your curious mind, or your curiosity. Your curiosity, or kind of suppress the thirst you have about there. So I think Georgia is one of those places that I really like.
Cool.
And I really like to go to. I'm planning to become an exchange student next semester to Sweden.
Yeah,
so,
I heard.
Linköping.
Yeah,
I think it would be interesting, because I'm also interested in Swedish language. So I think I wanna experience this the other brother of Norway. You know?
The other brother? You mean the big brother?
The big brother.
Yeah. Yeah, because Norway is more like the little sister.
Yeah.
You know, or the retarded cousin.
The retarded cousin, yeah.
Yeah, no, whatever you want, it's fine. But no, I mean, go to Sweden.
Yeah,
see what that's like, because
I really like Swedish language. I think it's so beautiful. If I want to categorize languages, I would consider Swedish, Italian, and French.
You're so smart.
It's
I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, you really have the right idea. But the thing is, it's actually kind of funny, because I think Swedish culture and Norwegian culture are super different. But when you go there, you might be like, you Scandinavian people, you're just full of shit. It's not much difference at all. It's just like you try to be independent. Like, no, I'm not like Norwegians. I'm not like Danish people. No, we're so original. But it's just because Sweden is the biggest country in Scandinavia, and all the other small retarded cousins or little sisters, whatever you want to call it, have been influenced by Sweden. And everyone understands Swedish, but we don't understand anything besides Swedish, because we're so high on our horse and like, you know.
Yeah, I think you know, when it comes to cultures and differences, I think in a if you want to perceive it in a big picture, we are all the same. But it's like, imagine you want to add sugar to water. If you keep adding just one element, like sugar, at one point the sugar will be just sedimented at the bottom of the glass. So I think Norwegianness, Swedishness, whateverness is adding of that one element to the water, so it will be sedimented. I mean, whatever that is done repeatedly for a long time will be considered as a culture, you know.
Yeah.
And
I like that example.
Yeah.
Like Norway is just water, it's just boring.
Yeah.
But Sweden is like you add sugar and it's just great.
Yeah, it's like.
Anyway, I think we need to round this up. But I want to thank you a lot for coming, Soshia. It was really fun.
Oh,
it was really cool. This was we broke a new record again, like this podcast.
Yeah.
It's the longest it's ever been, and I really appreciate you coming over, man. And hopefully we can do it again if you're up for it.
It was my pleasure to talk with you, and you know that silence is thousands of words exist in silence, and when we talk, we are choosing those thousands of words. So it's very hard to express those words, because silence is a box of possibilities of words, thousands of words. It's a universe, you know. You cannot express with words. So we need a lot of discourse, we need a lot of talk to express that feelings.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure, and I really enjoyed the conversation. And
yeah, me too, man. So thanks a lot, and thanks everyone for listening, whoever it is. And I'll be back soon. You can count on that. Thanks a lot for listening. Love you. Bye.